Medofo, meeting the abona skin pain. Medisika komama dofo, any abusia, and the tap send this so. Adentia, every say, so easy, reliable, fast, and convenient. Sim market webby, na adofo, and saka, sikano, and Ghana, and quite pain, and I will be fast war. And one say, go back grabo or smartphone. Now I download do a tap send. Our phone so now what they call and need some and say, baby, I will be a what's miss send this sika, a come wabusia, and what my ganemu, our bra won't ya she, a tap, nemo mukai, say, what be you so promo code. A was screen you see, and the actual now be £5 on top. €5 on top. Sika, what do you come out ebusia? Ewo oh my Ghana, ma mene papa, any beje dodo, sata aba.
Talking about record labels, is there any record label in Ghana known solely for gospel? And I'm going straight to Akesse Brempong on this one. For instance, we have the Links Entertainment, not doing bad. KWOW has also started his highly spiritual. Maybe those who are also doing. Is there one record label in Ghana solely responsible for gospel music?
None that I know of. Right now, I mean, if you look at the gospel spheres, it's just people doing their own stuff.
Why is it like that? Why is it that we don't have any recognized label? At least, like I mentioned, the Links, you can mention some good ones. Why is it that with all the good job you guys are doing, you are not getting even one like Vane record label for gospel music?
I don't know. I've asked myself that question a couple of times. Even proposed that some churches should veer into record label and sign artists on them. I was even proposing a model that has been done by Pastor Chris in South Africa. The Love World Records, which shines artists like Sinach, who is the biggest gospel artist in Africa at the moment, has songs on Billboard charts now. His song was able to knock off what's his name, and Chris Brown's song.
Wow.
Yeah. And I believe that Sinach and Co and Eben and they have about 10 Ada and a couple of others are where they are because the church put in that structure to push their music. And if you carefully analyze, the gospel music scenes in Africa, even in Ghana, you realize that most of liturgical songs that are sung in church are from these people that I'm talking about. Even in Ghana here, they have,
and the church is serving as their label.
Exactly, and so they are putting machinery to be able to push their product, which eventually becomes beneficial to the church. Even the populace of the church. So I've advocated that churches in Ghana should consider that.
So for instance, Akesse Brempong, you attend Church of Pentecost?
No, I attend EWC.
EWC.
Yeah.
In your case, since you have proposed to some people, have you sat down with your church leaders that Akesse Brempong is now a national name, closer to a global name? Can you guys invest in me, the weekly offering, a percentage into my business? Have you had such a discussion with them before?
No.
So what did you propose that to?
Well, we've said, I said that on radio. I mean,
but don't you believe in that saying charity begins at home?
Yeah, I believe in that. But you see, Sammy, people must have interest in something to be able to, invest in it. Right? And one of the things I gather is that different churches have their focuses. Okay, so one will be focused on evangelism. There are other churches who are focused on they are heavy on music. You know, so yes, I think going forward, that conversation must, you know, must go on. But for me, I wasn't looking here because we were approached by some people, you know, some international labels that we were considering.
You want to propose to them?
No. The reason I wasn't looking at those things was that there were some international labels we were talking to. I'm sure you monitor the news. Right now, my distribution is taken care by Petra in Brazil.
Okay.
You know, so we are in that, you know, conversations. Yeah,
so the private people are doing the secular songs, and maybe because they are making some good money out of that. Can you say that if, as we are seated here, someone watching us can say, okay, Sammy Flex, henceforth I want to invest money into gospel, are you so sure the person can make their money back? Is it so profitable?
Yeah.
What is the story you can use to prove to us that yes, if I invest in the gospel music industry, it's profitable? Is there any winning story around that we can use as a yardstick?
Let's look at names like Akesse, names like Akesse, names like Mettle. I mean, I can use these guys because they are in my circles.
Should we add Princess Nako?
Okay.
So names like
and
I think we should add Princess Nako.
And Diana Hammond.
No, I think we should add Princess Nako.
No, he has added her.
And Diana Hammond. Okay.
Or you want him to say it?
Yes.
Oh, I can say just do that.
And Princess Nako. Good. So, what was that? Last week we were told, but Billboards did a compilation of most streamed, you know, musicians across, you know, Africa, and in Ghana, the number 4 most streamed artist was a gospel artist.
Yes.
That points, that speaks to the viability.
Yeah, I know.
The viability of gospel. Gospel
So
artists of the year 20.
These people you've mentioned, you claim are in your circles. Do they have independent record labels, or they are doing it themselves?
As far as I know, everybody I've mentioned, for instance, Joe has his own, you know, thing. He's in the Reverb Studios. Kwesi Oteng signed on the record label, BBNZ, and didn't renew with them. Okay.
But is Kwesi still actively doing music?
Yeah, we did a song about 2 months ago.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Because I heard he started a church, so
Yeah.
He's pastoring, but he's still doing music.
oh, I see. So I'm sure now in his case the church can now be an executive.
Don't go there.
Oh, actually don't go there.
Don't go there.
Yes, because the church has some funds that they can use to support.
No, why should you know, if the church doesn't, you know, move, just like this is how I see it. Churches, you know, do, you know, like for instance, let's take the Church of Pentecost has other interventions like a university.
Yeah.
The Church of Pentecost has a university.
Yeah.
It has hospitals. It has, you know, other arms, other businesses that run. Churches must be able to also set up a music business for it to run and be successful. If musicians function in churches, who else can handle them better than the church? If you have gospel musicians who function in the church, who else? What businessman can handle them better than the church? If for instance, ICGC has a record label and signs ICGC, you know, artists, don't you think that they'll have a better control of the artist than leave the artist to a businessman? Because the church is one of the biggest beneficiary of gospel music. It should be able to know how gospel musicians should operate, okay, and should be able to guide these gospel musicians to operate as such. And can sense gospel musicians on, you know, making loose talks and all of those things. It will be kept. Because if the church signed a gospel musician and gave you a code of conduct, you know, and record labels do that. These are the things you can say on. These are the dresses you can wear. For example, these issues we talk about, the lady gospel musicians, you know, not dressing well, can be kept. to the barest minimum, because they will prescribe what to wear, just like record labels, secular record labels will prescribe what their artists wear.
Yeah.
You see, so that's why I believe that churches must move towards that direction and have that conversation and see how you can package our gospel music in Ghana. I have said time and again that contemporary gospel music in Ghana is that style and music force that will ultimately export the Ghanaian gospel music.
See, all right. So some great conversation has started here on Sammy Flex TV show with Daily, and Akesse Brempong is still here as our special guest. Now, this gospel business you are talking about, should it be backed with the spiritual backing, or we should go for an Anaya radio who knows how to sell music, but then afterwards he goes to do his BA, he goes to do whatever he wants to do? No. I'm talking spiritual, so below is something. Should we do it spiritually, or yes, let's break the guy, forget about what he does in his closets, forget about what he does even as an individual person, but then he knows the work, or because it is gospel, even when we have to send the mail, we have to say Shanda Yambo Koto Rama send before it goes. Yeah, it's gospel now. Everything should be Shanda Yambo Koto Rama.
Oh, Sammy.
I guess how should it be?
I think the spiritual side of things have their place, and the professional side of things also have their place. I don't think that when churches want to build structures, they go and stand there and do shamba yamba yamba, but they employ architects to do the thing and do it well, irrespective of where the architect goes after the church. We still go to that church, inside that church, and have service.
Okay.
I think that knowledge is also a gift of God, and there are people who are gifted in that sense. Okay, so for instance, Paul said that he was giving himself to the study of the word, and when it came to sharing of bread for the people, the widows in the church, he gave people authority to do that, so that he would give himself to the study of the word. In much same way, I would propose that churches should leave the business side of the music business. A record label is a business. It's a music business for people who are gifted in that sense, who have the knowledge in that to operate it. So it is just like you leave your business for a manager to manage it, irrespective of his beliefs. It's also a business, so let the professionals do their thing. Let a proper A&R person do the A&R stuff.
So for instance, would you leave your work to a manager who does not believe in your Christian orientation?
TuneCore distributes, is an aggregator I've used for.
TuneCore is very external.
I'm using that as an example.
I talk about that boy.
I'm using that as an example. TuneCore.
No, TuneCore is
not a Christian entity, is it?
Okay.
Is TuneCore a Christian entity? I distribute my music through TuneCore.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I want us to bring it very close to you.
No, the people I work with that are in my close circles must believe in the things I believe in. Must identify with the core principles and the values I operate with.
Okay.
Aside that, it is not every system in the world that is Christian, but we still go. Banks are not Christian. Is there a Christian bank in Ghana? But you take money.
Money they really need it. We did it. So some powerful messages from Akesse Brempong. Let me go back to Nana Radio and Kwame Dazi. Maybe they can put in some 1 or 2 questions still on Akesse Brempong's music career, his business as well. Nana or Kwame, any of you can come in now.
I want to ask, do you think if you did secular music, you would have gone farther than you are right now?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, no.
It's not something I've thought of, and right now in this stage of my life, I'll say I'm a sold out guy to the things of God. So it has not really clicked whether I would have gone further doing secular music or not. Per chance, yeah, why not? Because look at that, what goes into my craft. Maybe I'll be rocking shoulders with the Stone Boys and the Shattawans. Yeah, but I find myself in purpose and it's fulfilling. So I love it. I love what I do.
So I remember we had Frame Prince Productions.
Yes.
The man who handled
Dana
Samoa, and I think he was one of the few people who were doing solely gospel. And after that, we haven't had any
Brempong.
Yes,
he was not doing solely gospel though.
But he was doing.
But he also did these Konongo boys who were doing music. Tender.
He was here.
Yes, Frame Prince also produced.
Okay. But he helped the gospel people as well.
More. He invested in them more.
In our contemporary times, I have not seen any record label that has like gospel musicians, notable ones on. Okay, we don't have a lot of these record labels, but Lynx, which one again?
Okay, you are highly spiritual.
Okay, even the highly spiritual. Does he have any gospel artists?
Not yet. I remember he signed some 10 or 12 artists, but then
5.
BAM Music.
5.
BAM. Black Avenue.
Yeah, Black Avenue is also.
Why do you think that gospel musicians don't find themselves on some of these quote unquote secular record labels? Why are some of you not being signed onto the record labels?
I think it's a two-way thing. The interest for the gospel artist to be on the label, and the label finding gospel music via a viable business. Okay, so for instance, in Ghana, the operations of gospel musician is quite different from a secular musician. So gospel musicians ply their trade primarily in churches. Okay, and when you are signed to a label, it means that everything should go through the label. And we know how labels charge in Ghana. and so I believe that if the Ghanaian, I don't know how to put this, but it will be hard for Ghanaian churches to subscribe to these charges from labels. That is one, conversation.
What does it mean that you gospel people are not doing business?
They're not
We
paying
don't
much.
get
They don't pay much.
You are not doing business.
compared to a secular artist. Gospel musicians are not paid as heavily as secular artists are paid. That's a different conversation for another time. So, if a gospel musician is signed on a label, the charges from the label to the people that primarily patronize gospel music will be hard for the gospel, for them to patronize the artist. And if these people do not patronize the artist is likely to die out. You see it? Then again, and so if a gospel musician is signing onto a label, they want to be sure that the label understands a lot of the operations of the gospel musician. Then again, for instance, in our circles, it's not a cut out, this is my charge for every gig. You want to look at which church is inviting you, their capacity, what they're expecting you to do, and then those the things surrounding the engagement, and then propose something. See if they can, because primarily you want to be able to feed people. That's what with your music. So if you raise your bar too high that they can't afford you, you will not be patronized. Your art will die.
But why do you always premise your activities on church activities? Don't you have corporate programs? Don't you have other general programs that involve both secular and gospel artists? Why is it always about the church, the church, the church?
Only thinking about
Yes.
the church as your source of
Yes.
finance.
No, the church is not our only source of finance, but it's the greatest source of finance. I mean, I was reading a document from World Economic Forum a few days back. I was doing a presentation for University of Education, whenever. I chanced on some stunning, revealing data. 55 to 60% of artists' total revenue comes from gigging. Okay, and for gospel, 55 to 60. And for gospel musicians, our gigs, the churches are more than any other places. The average gospel musician, A-list gospel musician, is doing 4 to 6 gigs a weekend. Per weekend. And these are like 50% churches, 50% and campuses and a few corporates. Even the corporate gigs, they will do one gospel musician, 6 secular musicians.
You open the show.
You open the show. You see, and in Ghana, for instance, in our circles, the biggest gospel gathering will be empty and dancing worship.
Okay.
Apart from that, you are looking at
The individual programs.
harvest praise,
Yeah. Okay.
harvest praise, empty and dancing worship, Tehillah,
Adum
Mettle's,
praise.
Adum praise. How many of them exist? A handful. I can count like 12 of such gigs that are gospel annual events that are huge.
The footprint event, are they still doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are helpful. And so if you neglect the church, which is primarily where that's your biggest catchment area, you're cracked with that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mami Dazi. Nana, I'm sure you can also come in now and ask your questions or contribution.
It's very interesting the things he's saying, but let's go back to the point that Kwame asked you. He said he asked you whether if you felt like doing secular music, would you think you would have gone far? Now, what is disturbing me is there are so many churches than clubs. There are so many churches than auditoriums for events. How are we as Christians not able to make you our Sarkodie for you to even feel like if you had probably thought of secular, what are we doing wrong as Christians for you guys that you think we should correct to make you our Sarkodie, because churches are more than
we have more numbers.
We are half, if I'm not mistaken, we are 2/3 of the population, because it's a Christian nation. So what are we doing wrong, and what are you guys also doing wrong, so that we can meet at the midpoint and help ourselves? Because I don't think Christianity is boring. But if Christian or musicians who do Christian music feel like, oh, we are not being paid well, oh, the churches are not paying us, what can we do to solve that? Because you should be our Sarkodie. Now I should see you and feel like I would say Hayama with worshippers, because Akesse is here. What are we doing wrong as Christians?
I would flip it and approach it this way. So when you have the support of church, it's really massive.
How?
And this is how I'll show you. If you can go back to the data when Mettle won Artist of the Year, and people were contending that it wasn't true. KPMG released the data, and we saw the mileage he had. I think he had about over 60 something percent of votes for that year. When church people support.
So why are we not supporting?
I think that it hasn't been a conscious effort.
How?
From churches.
How?
So for instance, if Mettle is doing Praise Reloaded. Have you been to any of his events? Like Praise Reloaded?
Once.
At what's the name?
I've been to Jometta's event once.
What's the name of my God?
I've forgotten.
The last one.
Bishop Adimasaris Church.
Yes.
Paris.
Correct.
It was a sold out event.
Yes.
People overflowing over there and all that. So when church decides to, really support, it's massive. It's really huge, massive. And it shows in the numbers. I mean, you're a data person, so you understand some of these things. Consistently on Apple Music, Joe Mettle has been in the trends. Consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently. For the past year or so, he's been in the trends consistently.
Do you sorry not to cut you, but the Joe example, do you think that among us as Christians we are divided so bad that it reflects on you guys that represent us in the world?
That's not what I think. What I think is the artist putting in some work to be able to float. How did Joe Mettle blow in Ghana? Consistency. At the point when he caught the eye of Ghanaians, the support he amassed, huge. I think that it's more of the artists working to come out and let their works be seen. Gospel musicians, the average gospel musician is even media shy.
I was coming to that.
The average gospel musician will not understand why to discuss the kind of things we are discussing. And that is another conversation for another time.
Yeah.
So those things are what I believe is hindering, the gospel, people from,
But do you think that Christendom itself, looking at it from church's perspective, right? I belong to Calvary Baptist, you belong to EWC, he belongs to Pentecost. Do you think that where we come from affects the artist that leads the conversation? For instance, I know Dinah is from Pentecost. So if Dinah is on stage doing a concert, I will see 2/3 of Pentecost people behind Dinah. But unlike a Sarkwede doing a concert, I will see Pentecost, Calvary Baptist, Anglican, whatever at a concert. Do you feel that the where we come from as Christians, the churches that we come from, affect whoever leads the conversation for us?
No. I don't think so.
Because Niso is from what's his name? TB Joshua. If Ni is supposed to, and Ni is putting in work. I've seen your work. We actually promote you in Music Africa. I don't know if you follow us.
Yeah.
I've seen your work too. But I feel like sometimes as Christians, because of where he is coming from, he worships with this church. He's not from my church. The love I will give to him is not the same as what I'll give to the guy singing in my church. And
instead of going to
this is a standout. This is a standout artist. I don't know if you can.
I get it. I think I get your drift.
Yeah. Do you feel that where we come
that is
from?
what is causing it?
What is
because
causing
like the Sarkodie example you used, why is he not Sarkodie for the
Because if Sak is doing a concert, I'm sure Sammy goes to Pentecost. He goes to Calvary. We'll be there.
Still good.
But you will not support your gospel artists from Ghana.
No, we come to the branding and the packaging part of the gospel artists. The positioning of gospel artists in Ghana is a huge question mark.
That I believe is the bigger conversation.
Yes.
The positioning of gospel artists on the market is a bigger conversation, for the gospel fraternity. I think that the division part doesn't really play out chiefly.
It does.
It does.
Which church does he?
Reverend Sampachankra.
Now I don't know when Kofi performed in another church, but all the time you know that Kofi is a big brand or a big gospel artist in his church. All their major programs, if you are talking about artists who will minister, he will be the first person.
Okay.
Why is he also not going to ICGC? Or
why
there are different dynamics to what you're saying.
Okay.
One,
the dynamics is what the
listen. Listen. So let me use the Kofi, narrative. So for instance, Kofi is in Royal
House.
Yeah. Okay. in the gospel circles, when people are looking at artists for shows, you know what they consider? What are their works? What has he churned out any music? And what's the following? How much of of a following does he have? Will he be able, if it's a ticketed event, will these artists will he be able to sell? Those are the dynamics that people use to choose artists for.
But remember, if the event is the royal house event, they will not ask these questions we ask.
And so it's even worse in the secular space, because when you're booking,
this question you ask,
when you're booking, no, it's worse. Because you have a booking, you will freeze.
I think so.
The booking of secular artists,
they are even now going to check your fan base and whether they buy tickets or not.
When they say people book Kanishi, let me give you a tip. In every corporate organization, there's something called CU, the consumer understanding people. So they go to a random space, and then they will just check. Oh, only Bami Eugene. There are two Angela, one.
You call it.
Only Bami Eugene, two. Only Bami Eugene. Now you bought only Akesse Brempong. Oh, I don't know why you take it. I don't know why. Until before any events or marketing team will come and call you Akesse Brempong. So I thought they were worse. So I said I have better with data. I said I have better. So they post on to her. You percent remember a convention rates from social media to our social media. So how many here? I feel that money here. No one is
okay.
That's also another common discussion. So the division thing, I don't think plays out that much, because when push comes to shove, gospel people will rally around their gospel people.
But I hate to see that. Mettle was an exception. Like in every case,
another form of division that you guys have.
Okay.
Talk to me.
The urban,
yes, and then the
other people.
The conventional.
The people that are going to sit down and sit, they will sit down. They see themselves in You see, those are the other side things that much and then the market for you two people. The kind of audience that, let's say, Ko-Fi, MOG, Joe Mettle. Okay, Joe Mettle has a kind of a cross section.
We should be talking about that.
I'm talking about those who are exclusively to either side.
Who are they? MOG has a cross section.
No, if you go to my ordinary church in Koforidia, and then you bring MOG number two, we love Buddha. But what did Anahamu could now not to sentence and go and say money you are master baby and I possess Nako. So there is that divide between those plashy and sorry, my name is plashy. Elitist. No, elitist.
I think that some will ask.
So that division is there, and recently the tomato tender came.
Yes.
You could see even the discussion on social media was torn between this side and that side.
Yes.
True. It's a very open point. And one thing I was
well, I think that as much as it is a matter for discussion, Akesse people might not have.
No.
He has a worship song that sounds like an American. He has a radio song that sounds like
it has to be a deliberate attempt by the artist to be a cross artist. You have to make a deliberate attempt.
The artist cross with music, not with personality.
Yeah.
So, like you gave an example, Joe crosses with music.
Okay.
So, if Joe is having an event, it takes favor to get everybody from every church to come. But easily, because your song can be sung in my church. But if they are booking and you're having a gig, and my church people have to leave their Saturday service and come to your concert, you'll be like, okay, so I don't know, I think that's where we fall as Christians.
Okay.
To support you guys, we need to be able to oversee these petty things and show up.
Okay, now let's still come back to Akesse Brempong and maybe this time around do him. Yes, we've done more issues and more external. Let's come back to him. I know you have this annual program you do? Which month is that? The Agape
Carnival, the Agape
The
Carnival.
Agape Carnival. Which month do you do that?
July.
July. Oh,
July, last weekend in July.
By June today.
Nah.
So how does it look like? How does it look like?
So my team are discussing
Okay.
how we're gonna approach this year's carnival, whether to do a virtual carnival or hold up until the the restrictions are removed and we can meet. You know, my events, the carnival is an outdoor event.
Yeah.
We basically pitch tents at the malls, places where we can have the young people. Yeah. So for me, there's the Afrobeat thing.
Yeah.
There's the reggae side of things. There's also the churchy side of things. And so that's why I said that the cross cultural appeal must be a deliberate attempt by the artist to achieve that. So my typical churchy people will love my worship stuff. I have the young people who love Afrobeat also coming from a carnival.
Like a latest song.
And there's also my hardcore reggae people.
Also come from.
Yeah.
God is working. I see. So are you looking at changing the month, or you still want to do it in July?
It doesn't look like July doesn't look like it's gonna be feasible. So if we want to do July, it has to be virtual. But we already have had a virtual concert. We did the Heal Our Land virtual concert somewhere last month.
Yeah.
So that's where So we're trying to.
What will that mean to you if you're not able to go to the concert this year? Obviously, we know it is due to the COVID, but then what would that mean to you and your plans as an artist?
It means that for this year, our plan for recording must change. You know that for every carnival, I record new music. So all the live things that we see on TV are from the carnivals. So if we don't do the carnival this year, it means that we have to change our plan for recording this year. Maybe do a different style of recording, so we can have some new products coming up.
Is church going to be the same after the COVID pandemic? Because some people are teasing the church that so with all the anointing oil, with all the rose cutter, you guys couldn't pray for a healing to the world. Is church going to be the same? Because personally, I'm using myself. Last Sunday, my church opened. And I was feeling extremely lazy to go. I want to ask myself how many of Sammy Flex are around who will be feeling lazy to go back to church after about 4 months of not going to church. Now you are also a gospel person whose office is in the church. How do you see life after COVID for the church?
I think that COVID nothing will be the same after COVID. Nothing will be the same. Flights, even flying outside, it's not going to be the same protocol. I think that this nose mask thing will probably stay with us for the rest of our lives. It will become the new normal. It will become the new normal to have hand sanitizers around you. It will become the new normal to use nose masks in public spaces and all of that. But and again, this pandemic is not the first pandemic to strike. I mean, they said 100 years ago there was a pandemic like that, and if church has survived from there up until this point, I don't think this COVID thing is the one that will wipe out church. It will only reform the ways we approach, church, the way, and then again, it has even shifted our attention from gathering in physical spaces to gatherings on virtual spaces. That narrative has shifted our attention to digitization for church, cyber innovation, and all of those things, so we can run church. Church is now buying into technology, and I read that even now the Pope is making investments into, how do you call it, artificial intelligence. That is where the world is going, and that's where church is going. So yeah, we are moving. Technology is going to move everything in the world now, including church.
I see. All right, so we are still here doing this discussion with Akesse Brempong. He says the pastors must groom and invest in talent. They must pay musicians and create superstars from the church. Now, talking about pastors not paying, I heard Akesse Brempong talking about the fact that if you go to a church and a pastor does not treat you well, you have to blame yourself. Are you still on that point?
No, I think what I said, I think was one of these interviews I've been on. What I said was, no pastor forces a gospel musician to appear on any stage, as far as I'm concerned. And as a musician, you must have the right machinery around you. How do people engage you in the first place as a musician? How do people engage you? They just pick their phone and call you and say, "Oh, Brahma, sorry, not to you," and then you follow. You know, if you have the right machinery around you, there you have a bookings manager, or at least you have only one manager. They go through your manager, and then they take care of the business side of things.
Okay. So I was asking about this brand positioning. Our committee has been talking about that here. Is that really a reality, or
it is?
Now
it is.
Beyond it?
I remember when I was at Vision FM Koforia, I interviewed Nasi one day and I was asking why the gospel folk don't get ambassadorial deals. So I asked him if, for example, an alcoholic beverage comes to say, "Come and advertise, would you do it?" As of that time, he had not even done anything for Joy Daddy.
Okay.
He said no. He said, as a gospel musician, you are doing ministry and you are doing showbiz. So there is some restriction on what you are doing. Then I also mentioned, let's say a secular artist like Stoneboy, Wale, Sarkodie can go bare-chested and advertise for a product. Can a gospel artist do the same?
No.
You can't do that. So the problem
Wait. You cannot go bare-chested to
advertise for any
product. He's not saying alcohol.
Product.
I won't do it.
Why?
Values.
So where in the Bible?
Every product.
Why in the Bible is it wrong?
You are the brand guy. Every product has values.
Yes.
Okay, if we are looking at it from the branding perspective, there's values attached to every product. So there are things that you will not do that goes against your values. Okay, for a gospel musician, your remit of operation is what is your Christian values.
Yeah.
So that is why somebody like Nasi would say he will not advertise for an alcoholic beverage. That's why a gospel musician will not even go looking for sponsorship from, a company that seemingly
Ambassador for Guinness.
No, not even Guinness. Seemingly a secular company.
Exactly. So that limits the artist as to what ambassadorial jobs he can do. That limit, you would say a limit, but I see it as values that would some way somehow propel that artist into what he's supposed to function. And see, it may be limiting, but it's also freeing some way somehow.
Let me finish. So what I want to say is that the gospel artist doesn't have a wide range of avenues or streams of revenue. Unlike the secular artists who can cut across everywhere.
I think the gospel actually really do.
Wait, they have limitations. And it's stemming from the fact that they believe what they are doing has a spiritual inclination.
Yes.
It has some religious angles.
Yes.
So anytime they're making a step, they're thinking about the God there.
Yeah.
So I've come to the realization that it will become very difficult for a gospel artist to be at par with the secular artist in terms of revenue generation.
We shouldn't even be comparing.
Let me
We are comparing apples and
No,
bananas.
like I said, he's making a point, sir. I think, and I don't fault him, sir. Brand positioning wise, This is how I see the branding of gospel artists against quote unquote secular musicians, right? The gospel artist leads with the Christendom and puts the music business second. The secular puts the business first and puts his Christendom second.
Okay.
Because in music, whether you're singing hallelujah or you're singing bra, it's all music.
Okay.
If you also be fair, I will say for the So you see, branding is what is branding? Brand is the promise fulfilled. Your music is what you are telling people that I promise you gospel music, right? When they listen to the music, it's up to them to understand what it is for them or how they will use it. So position yourself in the very same way a certain stone boy will position himself as a reggae dancehall artist, and use the same channels that a certain dancehall reggae artist in secular music will use. And even when you're composing, compose with passionate points, because every human being on this earth has a passionate point. When you appeal to my passionate point, I need to see your life, Akesse Brempong, to say, I love how you live, I want to be like your God, I want to follow your God, I want to learn everything about your God. You can't force me through your music for me to love your God. It will never work. I need to see how you drive. You say, I call it country, that's how I feel like the positioning should be like. We shouldn't, as Christians,
The
experience should lead. Like music leads, the business leads, everything else second. So when I go to my room and I kneel before my maker and I pray and I cry 1 hour, it's between me and my God. But when I stand everywhere, it's me, music, and my fans. So if Stoneboy can go to Samsung, I can get to Samsung. And by the way, we are not comparing apples and mangoes, because we as Christians, we even rule and control our our fans emotionally than even the secular artists. Call it by nose mask. I can say you know why? Because we believe that if one of our own who is spiritually led is saying this will help, this helps. But we don't take that as an advantage. We take it as a disadvantage and say Christians in say in some way. Let the business lead.
Any final message to fans of Akesse Brempong, whether new fans or existing fans? Because I know after today's interview, those who are listening, those who are watching, they've come to love you even more.
So I would say a big thank you to you and your panelists, your cohorts.
I know, cohorts is equal. My man, my table of men. My table of men.
I'm grateful for the support so far. We released Blessed on 2nd June, and on 3rd June it was in the Apple Trends.
Oh wow!
Already for 2 days, and thank you for the support so far. It's available everywhere. Music is sold digitally on iTunes, and Apple Music, or Deezer, wherever music is sold digitally. And the music video is also available on YouTube. So go on YouTube and watch it and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of good goodies coming.
Alright, guys, thank you. I'm not sure we have much.
We're done. Last one, I made a video to say Itiaka.
Alright, so thanks to my garage for also being a supporter of Showbiz Daily here on Sammy Flex TV. If your car is faulty and you want to fix it, please go straight to my garage. They have some fresh car oils. So if you want to change your oil, you can go to my garage. They have all the best international brands around the world at my garage. Go there now. They are located at North Kanishi, close to Dance Bar. You can give them a call 0244-843-268. 0244-843-268. Now, Sammy Flex TV is also starting the COVID challenge, where we are about helping all the artists who have songs on COVID-19. I know promotion is becoming difficult or hectic for you guys, but then henceforth from next week, every day we would invite one person who has a song on COVID to come here to perform to the world. Let's listen to the message you have for us in there to support you as well. So get ready as we do this. Thanks to our sponsors, Tap Send and Manual Foods for refreshing us as well. To my team, Digital Rasta Currency Ritiflex. I also have Yao Lapiji, Nana Regan, in team Chemo, Tilia Pianipa, and MC Berryman. To my wonderful people here, Table of Men, Kwame Daisy, City FMC. Well, I'm sure he will be our gospel resource person. Anytime you want to do some gospel discussion, he doesn't live far. You call him to do the discussion. My name is Sammy Flex. Are you giving us the message, the COVID message? All right, let's get the COVID message, and after that, you bless us with another song from Akesse Brempong. We are out of here. Hi, my name is Sammy Flex, and I am the boss of Flex Entertainment. Same way I am host of Showbiz Daily on Sammy Flex TV that runs from Mondays throughout to Fridays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I have seen the need to support all artists or creatives who have songs on COVID-19, aka coronavirus. You guys have the songs, but I know promotion has become so difficult for you because you don't even know where to take these songs. Now on Showbiz Daily on Sammy Flex TV, we are going to promote these songs for you. So every day we're going to invite one artist into the studio to be part of this particular process. Come and show the world the message you have in your song so we can still go ahead with the education and the fact that we still have to continue to protect ourselves on COVID-19, aka coronavirus. This is the COVID challenge here on Sammy Flex TV. Tell someone who has a song on coronavirus, tell someone who is looking for a platform to promote his song on coronavirus, and that platform is Sammy Flex TV on Showbiz Daily. It is called the COVID challenge on Sammy Flex TV. We are going to do this for you for free. We are not charging a penny. There is a number on the screen. Just call the directors and producers of the show to book you, and with that you're good to go. Sammy Flex, I support these talents all the time. I'm out.